This is Eagle Owl, and today I'll be talking about Malik Hooker going off on Micah Parsons. And I see stuff like this and make me think of my Eagles, and this is why we have to respect our leaders on this team. But let's get straight into it. All right, so Cowboys is drama in Cowboys land, about who's getting paid, and I guess now it's about podcasts. We know it was a big thing with the fans, and Malik Hooker was on, I believe, Keyshawn Johnson's podcast, had a few things to get off his chest. So the first clip I seen that went viral was he ranked who should get paid in order, and this is what Malik Hooker had to say.
I say CD. I put probably Dak second. I'll put Zach, and then Micah wait, man. You still young dog, man.
Okay, a little shot at Micah Parsons there. He should be the last one. First, he said CD Lamb, second, Dak Prescott, and then third, Micah Parsons. And he said Micah Parsons is the youngest. And if I ever heard, I'm thinking of this as my team. If I ever heard, let's say when Devontae Smith contract was up, and let's say Reed Blankenship was on a podcast, and they asked him like, "Hey, who should get paid first, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, or let's just throw Jalen Hurts in there because he threw a quarterback?" And he ranked it. I just would have said, "Well, they all deserve to get their money, blah blah blah." But for him to rank it and put it in order, that's a little disrespectful. That's disrespectful. Then I seen another clip go viral because he talked about Micah Parsons and basically his podcast. And play the clip.
Would be though for Micah. My advice would be for Micah would be, just make sure we're all right. Where we're and being where your feet are. Because if we're at work and the run game's terrible, but you're doing a podcast every week and the run game is terrible, then what are you really caring about? Are you caring about the crowd that is watching your podcast? Are you caring about the success of our team and the Super Bowl that we're trying to reach? See what I'm saying? So
that been a big thing in the Cowboys land too. Is this podcast, or it's about winning championships? Is it about selling tickets or whatever they doing? And Malik Hooker was just giving it up. He was giving it up in general. And as an Eagles fan, I love it. I definitely love it because I know it's going to create drama. And we know Micah Parsons. He got the case of the Twitter fingers. And what did he do? He went right on Twitter and he quote tweeted this tweet. And this is what he said. "Just wish you said this to me, but instead you went on some podcast and you got my number, family. Malik Hooker added him, and you my locker mate, so you could have said this any day. And you do realize I shoot the podcast on our off day." He letting them know, like, it's not wrong with the podcast. This is on our off day. Why we ain't talk about everyone preparation and focus leading up to the game week? I mean, I could point out a lot of things, but I'm just not. That's not good. That's not good. This is coming from a leader, right? So this is like Hassan Reddick. Let's say Hassan Reddick, didn't get paid yet, was going through what he was going through. And again, I got to use Reed Blankenship as an example. And let's say Hassan Reddick had a podcast he talked every week. Hell, let's use a real person. Let's use Darius Slay and, Reed Blankenship. I'm sorry, Reed. And he was talking about Darius Slay about his podcast and went off like this. That wouldn't have been good. This is not good for the Cowboys. Bad enough they disgruntled about money. They disgruntled about podcasts now. And Malik Hooker came out like, "Oh, he know what I meant, this and that." But there's something there. When there's smoke, there's fire. When there's smoke, there's fire. Is definitely something there. Again, this is like Reed Blankenship saying all this to Darius Slay about his podcast. Or we use an offensive guy. This is like Dallas Goddard or something like that saying something about Darius Slay podcast and how he come out and talk and is he serious, this and that. You don't want to hear that. Not on air, not on camera, not on a separate podcast. Like Micah Parsons said, even though I think Micah Parsons is wrong going on Twitter doing this, but at the same time, if Malik Hooker going to make his comments publicly, why not Micah Parsons? This is not a good look for them. This is not a good look for them. It shows the lack of leadership. It shows that Jerry World is literally a circus. This is not good. This is not good for them at all. But I still think Micah Parsons is wrong going publicly saying this because he is the leader. He is the leader. Like, you supposed to call them or whatever. Malik Hooker is definitely wrong. Counting money, counting these dudes' pockets and ranking who should get paid first from worst to least or from least to best, whatever, best to least. And this is just a mess. This is just a mess. If I was a Cowboys fan, I'd be like, oh man, here we go again. I'll say, here we go again. But I want to talk about the Eagles a little bit. And this is why we got to respect our leaders. Because the big thing in Eagles world is our leadership. Who's going to be our leader? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Are you happy you don't have nobody on a defensive side or offensive side of the ball calling each other out about their money? Aren't you happy about that? AJ Brown is paid. Devontae Smith is paid. Jalen Hurts is paid. Darius Slay, CJ Garner Johnson, even Reed Blankenship got his stitch. Everybody's paid, and the guy that didn't get paid is out the building. So everybody's paid, happy, ready to go into the season. This team, again, nobody's paid, disgruntled. This is crazy. And this is like, even what Micah Parsons is doing, it's like if Hassan Reddick was here last year making a big thing about his pay. He didn't make a big thing about his pay till he got to New York. Shout out to New York. Till he went to the Jets. He's starting to make this pay thing a big thing. But in Philadelphia, everything was cool. Everything. Far as money, far as, podcasts, and even though Darius Slay, it annoyed the fans a bit, but the players, and I ain't even hear no rumors of players being upset about it. It just is what it is. Slay just gave his opinion. They never questioned Slay's focus. That's why I'm like, again, it's the off season. It's July. Might as well say it's July. And I know we need headlines. Some people need clicks and this and that. So the thing to harp on is the Jalen Hurts leadership, Jason Kelsey being missed, the Nick Sirianni versus Jalen Hurts. But when you look at locker rooms like this, it's like, dang, this could have been worse. This could have been worse. So if they dealing with this and they players speaking out against each other, that's them and Dallas. But us, it's just really our Philadelphia media that's coming out like this. I can deal with it. I can rock with it. I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. The reason why I keep using Reed Blankenship because he's a safety and Malik Hooker, I believe, is a safety. If Reed Blankenship or somebody came out doing this to a player, doing this, and I'm telling you, he was harping on, he got a problem with Micah Parsons. Bro got a problem with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons called him out. Not a good look. That's why I love AJ Brown, who they say is a locker room cancer. Absolutely not true. Jalen Hurts, who's cool, calm, and collective. His name is being dragged through the mud right now, but still cool, calm, and collective. Even though Darius Slay talk here and there, he's been keeping it cool. He's been keeping it cool. Him and the fans that go back and forth. But as far as Darius Slay in general, keeping it cool. Who else? Barkley, chilling. Devontae Smith, chilling. And even they tried to get at Devontae Smith for taking a quote-unquote team-friendly deal, but he's chilling. These dudes going at each other like the Wild Wild West. So that's why I'm saying, Eagles fans, yeah, this leadership thing, again, is a big thing in Philadelphia. And I'm sorry, we had all these leaders and this and that, and the locker room still couldn't get nowhere. Most of the times it comes down to the X's and O's, and the leadership is just an extra boost. But it still comes down to the coaches and players and X's and O's. This dysfunction right here. Hey, shout out to Dallas, man. Dysfunctional, not looking good, man. It's not looking good for them. Jerry better hurry up and pay somebody, trade somebody, because if this was any of our players, somebody would have been gone. Soon as how we smelled it was going to be some, locker room disgruntled by Hassan Reddick, he was gone. Because how we knew what he was doing, he was going to pay Huff the cheaper deal, who got the higher upside, and he knew he just couldn't keep Hassan Reddick on the team, because it would have been something like this. Something like this. Now they got three guys. CD Lamb put out something once in a while about getting paid. Dak Prescott, headlines about him. Now this Micah Parsons thing. Oh yeah. Dallas. Y'all about to get it by big media, man. But hey man, what do you think and how do you feel about this? Again, we gotta appreciate our leaders, man. Our leaders cool. They cooling. They leaders and stuff going back and forth. I'm just saying, throwing shots at the owner, and now this dude's mad about Micah Parsons, whatever he's doing on his side deals. We cooling in Philadelphia. But this is Eagle Al, man. I'm up.